So hey, can you solve this in 1 minute? Once you have your answers, do not put it in the chat, just hold it until the time expires. I want to know, can you solve this in 1 minute? So if you have your answer, just hold on to it. Don't put the answer in the chat. Okay, wait until the time expires to do so. Alright, so as people are coming in, can you solve this? If you can, don't type your answers inside the chat just yet. Okay? Wait until the time expires. So if you're coming in, see if you can solve this problem and wait for your time to expire. Alright. So, put your answers in. I know there's like 3 people here. That's alright. If you think you have the answer, put it in. If you're not sure, you can write down a question mark. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it on down. Alright? So Lady Mine, thank you so much for putting your answer in. I know some are probably like, I just got here. We didn't start right away. Okay? Is that Hoodie? You're saying my PEMDAS. Texas Chick, you're saying it's 9. Thank you for everyone that's coming in with the joining. Okay? So we have like our 5 squared. We have our steps. So, okay. Abshar saying 9. Alright, so you rhymed in with Texas Chick. So, your answer is 9. Let me show you how it is. So, just like we said earlier, or who said it? Kylan said it, that we're doing, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, from left to right. So first thing that we need to do is inside the parentheses. So inside the parentheses, we have our 5 squared minus 4. Well, first, we're going to have to take care of the exponent before we do our subtraction. So 5 squared, that's the same as saying 5 times 5. Now 5 times 5, that's 25. So still, within that parenthesis, we need to tackle the 25 minus 4, which gives us 21. Now, we're going to bring everything else down. So, we took care of the parentheses, what's inside the parentheses, and we took care of the exponent. Now, this is the part that gets everybody. Now, a lot of people will just see, oh, there's a 21 divided by 7, that will give me 3. Then 3 times 2 will give me 6, and 6 plus 3 will give me 9. Well, let's take a look. So we're going from left to right. So what we really should be tackling first is that 21 times 2. So that gives us 42. Bring everything else down. But I know you're going to be tempted to go with 3 plus 42, which gives me 45, divided by 7, which you could leave it as 45 sevenths, or is going to give you as a decimal. But that's the part we got to stop. We have to do our division next. So with our 42 divided by 7, that gives us 6. Then we have our plus 3 to come down to the mix. So this is all taken care of. What's left will give us the answer of 9. Alright, so order of operations. Trying something a little bit new. Thank you for coming on in. So if you need more practice with this, I do have a book called Algebra at Your Pace. Excuse me, I'm still trying to recover from yesterday. But let's try another one. Okay? If you need or you want it, the link is in my profile. Alright? Can you do this in a minute? Again, hold your answers. Your timer is right here. Okay? I think you painted. So let's see what you can do. So don't put your answers up until the end of the time. Okay, just hold your answers until the end. Try to do the best that you can. And if you're not sure when it's time for you to put your answers up, put a question mark. Okay? So it kind of gives me a little detail. All right. Go ahead and put your answers in. Okay, go ahead and put your answers in. If you're like, I'm still calculating. And there is a reason why. There's a method to this madness. Okay, not to insult people, not to make people feel any kind of way, but there is a reason why we do it. Okay, good morning, Sandra. How are you? Okay, ambiguous B set. Thank you so much for your answer. Okay, no name is agreeing with you. Good. Thank you so much for your answer. Neptune the same way. Miss Charlotte, how have you been? Okay, thank you so much. Don't worry about that thing at the end because I feel like that's just a typo. But good. Okay. Any other answers? Any other answers? Thanks for people coming and joining in. Okay, so even if you want to join in and go ahead and try to solve, you can. Now, this is another phrase that's starting to become popular on TikTok. But this is something that's also going to be on your GED, your ASVAB, your Accuplacer, your TEAS test, your SE test, basically any test that is standardized. Okay, SAT, ACT, and the like. Okay, there you go, Sandra. But then we're going to do this within a minute. Okay, you're starting 5th grade. There you go. Time flies. So we can do this one of two ways. We can do what a lot of people will say FOIL. I just basically say it's distribution. You're taking your first term and you're distributing it to everything in the second parenthesis. The reason why I say just distribution, because what happens if you have a binomial, that's what we have here because there's 2 terms, and then you multiply, say, by a trinomial, which will be 3 terms. You can't say FOIL because FOIL only works for when you're multiplying 2 binomials. So 3x times x, that gives me 3x squared. Then 3x times negative 5, not minus 5, negative 5, that will give us a negative 15x. So now you're going to take this positive 2 and you're going to distribute it to the second parenthesis, to everything in the second parenthesis. Okay? Oh, okay. Good journeys. So 2 times x, that gives me a positive 2x. And then 2 times negative 5, that will give me a negative 10. Now, there you go, Supernova. So now, right here in the center, these are called your like terms. The reason why they're like terms, because they both have the same variable with the same degrees, okay, the same exponents. We cannot add it with the 3x squared because, yeah, it has the same variable, but not the same degree measure, which is the squared. So, negative 15 plus 2. So, if you owe me $15, but then you gave me 2, which is a good thing, very positive, but guess what? You still owe me $13. So now what happens to the minus 10? It comes down. What happens to the positive 3x squared? That comes down. So now if I look right here, I have an x squared, I have an x, and I have what's called a constant. All right? So that means this is our final answer. We don't have any more like terms. Okay? All right? This is one way of doing it. Okay? But there's another way that you could have done it. It's called the box method. Now, some people love it, some people hate it. I just like to offer options. Now, since our original are two binomials, that means I need to create what's called a 2 by 2 box. 2 rows with 2 columns. So here, 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 here. Okay, there's my 2 rows, and there's my 2 columns. So what will go on the side right here? I like to put the first parenthesis. And guess what? Since you're going to be doing multiplication, it doesn't matter. Okay? It doesn't matter which one of these go to the side. Okay? It's all going to pan out anyway. So, but I like to keep with that same rhythm. So I put the first parenthesis on the side with its signage. Then I put the second parenthesis up on top. Some people I like it on bottom. All right. Everyone has their preference. I'm going to try to keep it clean. So, in order to fill the boxes, I need to multiply. Okay, so to fill the boxes, I need to multiply. So that means to fill this box, I have to multiply x and 3x. So that gives me 3x squared. To multiply or fill this box, I have to multiply negative 5 with positive 3x. So that gives me a negative 15x. To fill this box, I have to multiply x with a positive 2. That gives me 2x. Yup, Punnett squared, Jay. Good job. And to fill this box, I have to multiply negative 5 and 2, positive 2, which gives me a negative 10. So then, here's the step up. Right here on your diagonal, those are your like terms. Negative 15 and a positive 2. Okay? And some people like it. There's multiple ways of solving this. So then what I like to do is start with the highest degree, writing that on down. So I have 3x squared. Then I'm combining these. Remember, if you owe me $15 and you paid me $2, that means you still owe me $13. And then I just bring down my constant. Okay. All right. There you go, Jaden. Okay. Thank you, Sandra. All right. So this problem, it's usually like an Algebra 1. Okay. Usually like second semester Algebra 1 when they multiply polynomials. So no matter what, You have your FOIL method, or you have your box method. Okay? Isn't math fun? All right, let's go. Can you solve this in 1 minute? Let me get my phone together. All these messages. Okay? So can we solve this in 1 minute? I'm going to keep it right here. Okay? Hold your answer. Do not put your answers in. Wait until the minute expires. Then we can put our answers in. Okay? Alright, well, yes, good job. Hold your answers. Do not put your answers in. Okay? Hold your answers until the time expires. Can you solve this in about a minute? Okay. Thank you for the likes and the follows and the shares. I appreciate it. Okay? So hold your answers until the minute. They're almost there. If you want to type it, just don't hit send. If you're not sure what it is, use a question mark. Okay? Alright? Go ahead and flash your answers up. You're doing something wrong? Okay. Well, remember, we can let's get it all situated. Alright? Is that Nyla? Okay. MC, I see you. DPA, I see you. Hannah, I see you. Hannah Lee. Kimberly, I see you. Jaden, thank you so much for your honesty. There was someone that said it earlier. N. Okay, N said it earlier. Alright, Eric, I got you. Alright, let's see. Now, the answer is 125. Let me show you, because maybe some of you guys have never seen this before. So this setup is called a function notation. So for the function is similar to saying y. The function of x is the same as saying y. So notice inside this parenthesis is a -2. Notice the -2 is in the same spot as where the x is. So they're telling you, we want you to plug in the -2 in for the x. So if we rewrote it, it will be parenthesis 2, put a little spot there, squared, minus 3, raised to the 3rd power. And in this spot, I'm going to put my -2. Every time I'm plugging in a negative number in for a variable, I always put a parenthesis around it. Because here's the thing. If you try to use a calculator, I'm not sure if you can see it, but I will angle it in a moment. If you try to use a calculator, a little bit better. Okay. If you type in -2 and you square it, versus putting a parenthesis around that -2 and square it, you get 2 different answers. What's happening here, and this is a common error that we love because we say, hey, you got a calculator, you'll be able to figure it out. But if you just do -2 squared without putting parentheses around it, the calculator is squaring the 2. So 2 squared gives me 4, and then it tacks on the negative at the end. Whereas if you put parentheses around the -2, you're saying to the calculator, I want you to square a -2, which means -2 times -2. And a negative times a negative gives us a positive. Okay? So keeping that tone, that means right here, because we have to do PEMDAS, always do inside the parentheses first. Okay? So then we have our 4. And this 4 is being multiplied to this 2. Okay, so now 2 times 4, that gives us 8. See how everything is starting to narrow down, almost like a funnel? So now we have 8 minus 3, that gives me 5. And we are going to cube that 5. I know we're not super used to seeing cubes, but 5 cubed is the same as saying 5 times 5 times 5. Okay? It is not saying 5 times 3. No. Okay? Notice this is a small indicated 3. Okay? They're not the same size, so you should not be treating them the same. There you go. Okay, that's where you did wrong? Okay. Yes, because we're not saying 4 minus 3, and then we get a 2, and then 2 cubed will give us 8. That's not what we're doing. But here we got with the 5, the 125. Okay? All right? Okay. Good. All right. Yes. This is not calculus. So far, no. This is Algebra 1. All right? So, a lot of this stuff, because most of these things, especially if you're taking the ASVAB, you will see this. If you see a problem like this, that means you're doing well above that 31. Okay? If you're seeing a function notation, you're doing very well. That means you're probably like around in the late 40s. Yeah, probably like mid to late 40s. So keep pushing. For all of my people that are getting their high school equivalency tests or TEAS tests, okay, or Accuplacer, you're definitely going to see one of these. Maybe not to this extreme to the 3rd power, but you're definitely going to see a function notation in there. Okay? What about the negative in front of the 2? We took care of that. Because negative 2 squared, that's negative 2 times negative 2. And what's a negative times a negative? A positive 4. That's where this 4 came from. Okay? Alright, Zoe, you got that? Screenshot of the problem? Sure. Okay. But what I'm going to say, what are you going to do with the screenshot? Alright? So in parentheses, it'll be negative correct. That's correct, Sandra. Yep. You're welcome, Zoe. All right. Okay. Let's try another one. See if you can answer this question in a minute. Give you a little bit of extra time. See if you can solve that. You're welcome. Alright, so don't put your answers in until the time expires. Okay? Don't put your answers in until the time expires. So for people that are coming in, I want to see if you can solve this. Okay? And if you're not sure what the answer is, once the time expires, put a question mark in. Okay? Don't put your answer in until the time expires. Trap. Trap Chan. She's like, damn, why'd you see me? Okay, hold your answers. That's okay, Trap. Okay, hold your answers. Got 8 seconds. We got there. Alright. You're rusty? No problem. Alright. So, go ahead and put your answers up. Even if you're just like, I remember doing this and I'm not sure, you can put a question mark. Okay? You can put a question mark. There's nothing wrong with this. This is a safe space. Okay? So we're just breaking down concepts. And there is a reason why today's session, I'm doing a lot of timed things. Okay? So I'm trying something out. Alright. Thank you for your honesty. Okay? There's nothing to solve. Okay. Alright, forgot all of this, not a problem. Okay, summer is something interesting. Alright. Okay, so we got this. I see you, D. I see you, N. I see you, user 14. Mike Cubed, I see you. Trap Chan, I saw you. Sandro, thank you for your honesty. Is that Esda? Esda? It's like, Willie, I see you. Okay. Alright. So I see you that. I see you, D. Thank you so much for your honesty. Alright. There's a couple more. Denny, I see you. Sam, I see you. Babin, I see you. Alright, you like the timing? Okay. So now let's take a look. We have the square root, because if you don't see any indication here, it's assumed to be a square root. There's no such thing as a one root. Okay? The lowest you go is square. And then we have the square root of 72. X to the second power. Ooh, I think I'm frozen. There we go. Now, so when we're breaking this down, so we have our two radicals. We have a square root of 72, and then we have a square root of x squared. Okay? Now, the reason why I split them up is so you can see things a lot easier. Okay? I'm going to show you what the shortcut of that one is in a moment. But this one, the square root of 72, gets a lot of people. So we want to break this down so you can have a perfect prime combination. So we need two numbers that can multiply to give me a 72. So I know a lot of people will say, oh, you could do 8 and 9. 9's a perfect square root. That's easy. But here's the thing. 8 is not a prime number. So that means you would have to break down the 8. So that's how you get your 4 and your 2. And then you break down your 9, which will give you a 3. Which there's nothing wrong with this. But that means this square root of 2 will remain under the square root, but then you will multiply, well, break down the 4 into 2, and then you'll have a whole number of 2 times the 3, which will give you a 6. You can do it that way. If you know your perfects, I know I can do 36 and 2. Because 36 times 2, that will give me 72. And 36 is also a perfect square root. That means a number multiplied to itself twice will give me this answer, which is a whole number of 6. Okay? That's square root of 2. 2 is a prime number. So how do I know it's a prime number? Anything has factors of 1 in itself, and that's it, is a prime number. So if you're looking at it, I know that 2 is the prime number. It's the first prime number, not 1. Okay? How does 4 break down into a 2? Because these are supposed to be square roots. Except for that. Because square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 4 is a perfect square root. Alright? So 3 is a prime number, not 4, because 4 times 1 give me 4, and so and 2 and 2. Okay? So then you have your 5, you have your 7, not your 9, because 9 also has 3 times 3 in there. Okay? Those are composite numbers. Alright? So we have our 11, 13, and there's a whole bunch. Okay? So, since 2 is a prime number, if I can't break it down, I'm going to bring it down. Okay? Thanks, Dom. So, yes, definitely. Now, square roots and squares, when we're going to the x now, they're inverses of each other. Just like addition is the inverse of subtraction, division is the inverse of multiplication, and vice versa on both cases. Squares and square roots are inverses of each other. They almost cancel each other out. When they're both gone, what's left? A whole spanking new x. So now we just need to put these two things together. I like to put, and most people, not just me, put anything that's not under the radical first. So that will give us our 6x, and then everything that remains under the radical next, which is our square root of 2. Alright, so if you said 6x, the square root of 2, as best as you can through typing, good job. Okay, if you weren't too sure what to do, where to start, now that I showed you, how are you feeling? Isn't the square root of x squared the absolute value of x and not just x? But right now we're talking about our standardized test. It's going to be x. Okay? Because that's the one thing that I like to do on my platform. As I'm here, I try to keep things simple. Okay? I'm dealing with people that has math trauma, and they're trying to pass either a GED, an ASVAB, an Accuplacer, a TEAS test, a HESI test, so it just gets way too complicated. Okay, so I tried to keep it nice and simple. Alright? Okay, still a little better, not too sure? Okay. You don't remember this? Okay. Now maybe you probably even didn't get to this in school. It depends on how old you were. If you're my age, which I'm 53, a lot of my teachers, we didn't get to this. That was Algebra 2. We weren't required to take Algebra 2 back in the 80s and 90s. Okay, they didn't make the decision of switching that up until the late 90s, early 2000s, that you had to take 4 years of math in order to graduate instead of 3. Okay, a little shaky on this. Do I sell math books? Yes, I do. Okay, if you go to the link in my profile, there is my stand store. It has all of my available stuff there. Okay, and if you want, you can always message me before you purchase anything, just in case you want to have some breakdown. Okay, some more practice. All right, let's go. We got 2 more, and then I am done with the lives. Okay. So, see if you can factor this in 1 minute. Ready? Go. Hold your answers to the very end. Okay, wait till the time expires. Give it a try. If you're not sure where to start when the time expires, not until then. Okay. I know, sometimes English is not really the whole thing. Hold your answers until the time expires. Okay? Hold your answers. You can type it, just don't send it. Alright? Okay. How's it click like it didn't in college? Right, D? Yeah, math didn't click for me until later on in life. Oh, I used to be terrible at math. Okay? Finance applications, yes, I remember that class. All right, 5 seconds, hold on. I know, that's okay. All right, so now, go ahead and put your answers up. Go ahead. What do we have? What is the factors? So Dom, I see you. Okay, Nam, I see you. Okay, make sure you put it, don't just put the answers, the solution. I want the factor. So that means you need to put the parentheses. Okay. Alright. Is it Guillermo? Alright. Is that Juana? Okay. Zelda. Okay. Finn. Right. But it has no equals. Exactly. Okay. Is that fine? Okay. You're like, please don't do that. Okay. Alright, no name, I see you. Okay, Sandra. Has been your weakness so far? Not a problem. So we're going to work on that, okay? We're going to get a little sliver of it. All right, I would love for you guys to walk away from this live to feel a little less intimidated. Maybe just feeling like, okay, that wasn't too bad. Maybe I might follow this crazy chick. All right. Okay. Is that Rioxin? Okay, so let's take a look. Now, when you're factoring, remember when we did the distributive property, aka you guys like to call it FOIL? Okay, remember we did this? So, and then we got a 1, 2, 3 called a trinomial. So what we're doing here is basically we're given the trinomial and we're going to find it through factoring. And what we're finding are my two factors, my two parentheses. Okay? So basically, factoring is doing the distributive property in reverse. So let's see. First thing I like to take a look is what's called the leading coefficient. If you don't see anything there, it's assumed that the leading coefficient is a 1, not the x. The x can be any number for right now, but we're talking about the leading coefficient. If the leading coefficient is a 1, go ahead and set up your two parentheses. And what we have here is x squared. That means we can split our x's. One x in one parenthesis and another x in the other. Now the part that generally gets a lot of people is what we're about to do next. So we want to know what two numbers, if I multiplied, will give me 12. And those same two numbers, if I add, will give me a positive 7. So this is really going to see how strong you are with your multiplication tables. That's what gets people. Okay, yep, there is no negatives. Okay, we just got all positives here. Okay, so now, two numbers multiplied to give me a 12. So we can do 1 and 12. Well, obviously that's not going to work. We can do 2 and 6. We can have 3 and 4. So if I add these together, which ones will give me a 7? Well, we know this is 13. Add those together, that's an 8. Add these together, that's a 7. So this is what we're going to use to plug into each of the parentheses. Since they're both positive, that's a positive 3 and a positive 4, you can put the 3 here, you can put the 4 here, or it doesn't matter where it goes. I'm going to write the word or. Or it could be x plus 4 and x plus 3. It doesn't matter which one will have the 3 and which one will have the 4. This is still the same answer. Okay? Yes, you have to use the parenthesis. Okay? Alright. Now, I think someone's saying that, this is easy because I'm Asian. Nationality doesn't matter because I also tutor Asian, African Americans, Caucasian, Hispanic. It all depends on how you translate the math, okay? How it's presented to you, how it's translated to you, it has nothing to do with that. Color, creed, or race, okay? Now, K. West, you don't hate math, you hate how it was presented to you. You didn't have someone to break it down to you. If you wanted to ask a question, you were probably either ridiculed or made fun of. If you don't know what ridicule is, with maybe a professor, maybe classmates, you hate how it makes you feel. You feel that everyone gets it except for you. And trust me, you're going to get it. All right? So this is why we don't have to. Okay? So show some respect, no name. I appreciate that. Okay? All right. So, this is what we're going to do. So we're going to break these things down. That's why I'm here. I know I'm giving like a speed test, but the reason why I'm doing this, I'm going to explain after the last one. Alright? So, here we go. It's coming tomorrow. Alright, awesome. Sorry, all these text messages. So let's try our last one. Okay? Can we solve this in 1 minute? Okay? Give you a little extra time. So remember to hold your answers until the end, until the time expires. Okay? You can type it in, just don't hit enter. I know sometimes we just want it to go off. Okay? Hey girl. Yes, that was the final answer. Sorry, I didn't box it. Okay. Yeah, because we only need to factor. Thank you, Les. Appreciate it. Or Liz. Yeah. Oops. Alright. Learn better this way? Okay, good. Alright, so hold your answers. Okay, yep. Taking step by step. Alright, so go ahead and put your answers in. And if you're like, I don't even know where to start, girl, put a question mark in. There's nothing wrong with that. Trust me, we all have to figure out where to start. Some of these problems have different ways of entry points, and sometimes you're thinking, oh, well, I know this way. Well, then do that way. If you feel comfortable with the way that I'm not presenting, hey, go right ahead. Okay, thank you so much for your honesty. Look at all these honest people. And people say there's no more honesty in the world. Okay, it's like you don't know, that's all right. Okay. We got this, I got this, I see you guys, good job. Alright, I see you guys, alright. I'm old. You're not old. You're seasoned. Alright, now, yes. You automatically thought of rise over run? Well, that's good, because that's part of it. What we're looking at right here is called a standard, it's called an equation of a line, but in standard form. So standard form is usually ax plus a number, so we'll say that's by, equals our c. But what we need to do is put it into the equation of the line so you can see the slope and you can see the y-intercept. And the equation of the line that we're looking for is y equals mx plus b. Okay, so your m, that's your slope. Your b, that's your y-intercept, aka the starting point. So whatever your constant, and I know some of the books have it as a c and some districts have it as a b, so instead of me going all kinds of crazy with a c/b, I'm just going to say b for right now. But whatever your constant, the constant is a number that doesn't have the x or the y adjacent to it, next to it. Okay? So we need to solve this equation. In order for it to be in this form, we need to solve it for y. So we need to isolate this negative 7y. Keep it on that side of the equal sign. And I think a lot of you guys, either their teachers show you that the equal sign is like a barrier. So now you know this is the left side of the equal sign, this is the right side of the equal sign. So if I want to keep that negative 7y right where it is, that means this 3x needs to go to the other side. Now, this is one mistake a lot of students make, and I want to say about a good 85 to maybe 89% of them. They think that this minus sign is attached to the 3x. No, your signage is always to the left of the number. So we have this negative 7. All right, notice I boxed that minus sign because now it's acting as a negative towards the 7. So we're doing the inverse of a positive 3x by subtracting 3x. Okay, so 3x minus 3x, that gives me 0. I don't need to bring the 0 down because I still have my negative 7y that's on that left-hand side. So I'm going to bring it down. Now over here, here's the next mistake that a lot of students make. They're saying, oh, 14 minus 3, boom, that's 11x. There we go. No. The reason why this 14 is a constant. This is a negative 3x. So this has an x, this one doesn't. So what I like to do, so if I can put it in my slope-intercept form, is I attach the negative 3x, and since that's a positive 14, I put a plus 14. Now, if you like to read the way I do, I can write down 14 minus 3x. As long as you understand that negative 3 is attached to that x, that's perfectly fine. But now, yes, Ken, thank you. So now we're going to divide everything. I like to split it up. Some people like to draw one big line and doing their negative 7. The reason why I am dividing everything by negative 7 is because negative 7y, that's multiplication. If I don't see a plus or a minus sign in between the 7 and the y, that means this whole expression here is multiplication. And the inverse or the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide everything by negative 7. Good, you remember that? There it is. So negative 7 divided by negative 7, that gives me a 1. So I can say 1y or just simply y, because the 1 is always assumed to be in front of the y. Okay, we don't have to like, oh, let me divide both sides by 1. No. It's like, oh, I have a piece of pizza. Let me divide it. And you don't do anything with it. And you still got a piece of pizza in front of you. Okay? So now, negative divided by a negative, that gives me a positive. So now we have what's left over, which is 3/7 x. So now we have a positive 14 divided by a negative 7. When the signs are opposite, it's going to always give you a negative. That's the rule for division. Division and multiplication, okay? So 14 divided by 7, that gives me 2. So now we have it in slope-intercept form. So it asks us to name the slope and to name the y-intercept. Well, if we're going to be doing or using y equals mx plus b, the m is your slope. And your b is the y-intercept. Okay, so that means your slope is 3/7 and your y-intercept is a negative 2. Alright, so this is the part, little add-on. If you want to graph this, and this is the part that gets a lot of people with graphing, here's the simple secret. Where do you start? Because you all understand, because I think it was K West that says, no, it was someone else that said, all I know is rise over run. You're doing that. If you were to graph this, this is where you start. That's your starting point. Okay? So that would have been your starting point. So here's a little bonus for you. Make sure 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to start at -2. Everybody's like, oh, whatever your constant is with the signage, that's where you start on the y-axis, because it's a y-intercept, because it's intersecting the y-axis. Now from here, you have your rise over your run. I know I'm going to run out of spaces, but here we go. I can always add more. Okay. So if I go, I'm going to start not at the origin. Once you hit your point on the y-intercept, you're starting here. Okay? You can't say, oh, I'm going to start my bank account at $200. And you put $200 in the account and then you say, oh, I'm broke. How are you broke? You got $200 in your bank account. You're starting things up. So from here, you're going to rise up 3. You don't count the starting point as your 1. You don't say 1, 2, 3. No. You got to do the movement. 1, 2, 3. And now from here, you're going to go over your run 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you make your point. Okay? I still don't know where my ruler went. Cat's probably took it. And you draw your line. So not only did you learn how to translate from standard form to slope-intercept form, I threw in how you can graph. Okay. Well, thank you. Appreciate you. All right. Okay. May's like, thank you. So, yeah, I just completely forgot everything. Yeah, it's called summer. It's called the summer. So here's my thing. Because all of these concepts, okay, going from slope to y-intercepts, from slope-intercept form, doing some of the factoring, okay, breaking down the square roots, also doing a little function notation. Then we had like our distributive property. There's something else. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. And then it all started with order of operations. All of these concepts you can find in my books. Okay? So it's called Algebra at Your Pace. Okay? So with Algebra at Your Pace, it's not just a regular workbook. It's a guidance type of thing. You get a QR code, right? And it gives you the playlist of all the concepts that you're going to see. So this is volume 2. So you have the coordinate plane, you have functions, divisibility rules, greatest common factor, least common multiples, right? And it breaks all these concepts down, scientific notation. You have to take notes, okay? We're not computers. We're not always going to remember things. So you write down notes. I give you a place for you to write down the additional practice from the videos, but then I give you some extra practice problems. Not too intimidating, but things that you're going to see on the GED, the ASVAB, the Accuplacer. Now, is it going to be the exact same questions that you need to memorize all these problems? No. Okay? And then, of course, on the back end, you get your answer key. But after you do all of these, I also give you an end of chapter quiz, okay? So I give you a small quiz just to make sure, are you really understanding the concepts that's going on here? Now for this one, I split it up into a couple of books because then we have our order of operations and percentages. So it gives you a little bit more. You know, the proportional word problems. So I give you more of the word problems that you generally see on the ASVAB. So all of this, same process, but at the very back, just in case you forget certain things, you have reference pages. So this is references about fractions. Here's decimal operations, fractions operations. Also gives you your, because we're dealing with percentages, we had to deal with the place values, going from percent to decimals. All right, all of this is listed in here. The rules of integers, order of operations, okay? Then I throw in what's called matching cards. So I'm giving you cards that if you want to take them out of the book, you can actually try to quiz yourself. More extra practice, right? This one deals with basically simplifying order of operations. Then I give you the answers. All right, so after I give you the answers, and of course everything has an answer key. So it's like just playing little matching games so you can test yourself. Did you really understand the order of operations? So this is all just one of my books of 10 that I have. So I start with integers. This one is dealing with my functions. Then we're doing solving equations, solving linear equations. Then we're doing inequalities. Then we're going into factoring. We're going to geometry, a little bit of area, perimeter, circumference, doing a little bit with volume, which is a 4-point question for my GED people. You got your volume, you got your surface area, you got all of those things. All of that can do. It takes people to you explaining, yes, all of this is me. I don't venture out to other people, okay? So it just kind of gives you. So it's me doing the recording of breaking down all of these concepts. So just like how you see how I break things down here, it's the same way that I break down there. Not break down, but break things down there. There we go. All right? So if you're interested, so you can just go ahead to my profile pic. I'm going to see if I can get into my TikTok because I need to get the timer off.
Stuffed crust was added to
Domino's pizza is disgusting. I'm so sorry. Alright. At one point in life, it was pretty decent. And I don't know what they did to it. Okay, so if you go to my profile, I know probably like a lot of people are like, no, don't say that. There is a link right here. It says Stan Store Math by Audrey. If you click on that, it will take you directly to my Stan Store. And couple things. Why am I moving my phone? Weird. So I do have a free math checkup if you wanted to see some more extra practice problems. The only thing you have to do is just put your name in, put your email. Am I going to stalk you? No, because we both got lives, right? I just like to see who's buying my stuff, okay? Who are you? Then as you scroll down, they talk a little bit about tutoring interests. Then we scroll down and we can see the different types of kits that you can buy. If you want to have the individual books of my Algebra at your pace, it's there. But if you want, say, the starter kit, that will take volume 1 and volume 2, and it is a digital download. Okay, this is not shipping. If you want the physical books, you're going to have to buy them on the A, and I'll show you that in a moment. So you can come here, say we want to take a look at that Math Confidence Starter Kit. Then you'll have a little introduction to it. Then it talks about what's included. You got volume 1 and volume 2. Everything that's in the physical books is in the digital books. I don't change anything. But then you also get a practice exam book, and I do a video answer key walkthrough. So like all those extra practice problems and the quiz problems, I did a video walkthrough to solve each and every one of those problems. Okay, so if you see any kind of video access or video answer keys, that's what's happening. It's a video recording of me breaking down each of the problems, so now you can feel confident enough to basically do it yourself. But here's the thing, if you ever get stuck, you can take a picture of it. Let me go back, because I'm offering this to everyone. Ooh, not that far back. You notice right here, you can email me. Okay? At this point right here, you can email me. Take a picture of it and send it to my email. If you want to see additional, if you want to see the replay of this live, give me some time. You can go to my YT channel. Okay, everybody's like, well, if you're selling books, Audrey, why not? Hey, that's fine. Okay, I'd rather you get the support that you need. So if you want, you can go ahead and subscribe. If you notice, if I come here, here's my TikTok lives uncut. So the same recording of this particular live will be here. Okay? Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Okay? Yes, there is a lot of work that goes into this, but I rather put it in a way that you understand it. So a lot of us, we all have different levels. Okay, we all have different levels. We all have different things. Some people might want to have a little more organization, like start me from the beginning and rise me up. And if that's the case, then Algebra at Your Pace is going to be the book for you. But if you're just like, oh, I just need more help with, understanding word problems, I just need more help with factoring, go to the YT channel. But if you want progression, if you want that going from the beginning to the end and not have to keep searching all the different videos, Algebra at Your Pace is going to be the best thing. So again, if you just go to the Stan Store, click on the link right here in my bio, all right? And if you want, I don't want to zoom it too fast, but it's all the way at the bottom. Okay, so I have the individual books, all of the individual books. If you just want to buy one of the books, that's fine. If you want just the practice books, you can get the practice books. But then I added this part. Let me zoom in for this. I added the practice problems with the video solutions. So that means you can get that whole book of 210 questions. That's this practice book. You can get that with the video recordings of me breaking down each of the books or each of the problems. So you got that as an option. You got flashcards. All this in about a year and a couple months, people. This is a lot of work. Okay, but if you go all the way to the bottom, and if you want the physical books, you can come to this portion right here. Okay, all right, Denny, thank you so much. All right, so if you ever have any questions whatsoever, please go ahead, go to my bio, send me a message. Okay, if my Service Plus option is still there, you can send me a message there. Do it now while it's still fresh in your head. So my only question is, we did all this work, what are you going to do with it? We did a lot of work. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to just go and watch another cat video, see somebody get kicked in the nuts? See what Cookie with Kai is going to be doing. What are you going to do with this information? Because as soon as you go to another live, you're going to fill your brain with more information, and then you're going to forget. So, hey, the way that you can, how someone explains something, and then you try to do it on your own, and you're like, oh, shoot, I forgot. But let's not forget, we need to practice. So as soon as you learn something new, you need to practice it immediately so it can stay in your brain. Okay? That's how we go. 5th grade teacher could never do elementary version of this. Oh, I know. Well, thank you. All right, so if you ever have any comments, good or bad, I can handle it. Used to be a teacher, so I know. 22 years in the classroom, and I'm about to go on year 7 of my tutoring business. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. All right, everyone, have an amazing day, and I will not see you tomorrow because I got invited to a conference, so I won't be here tomorrow morning, and I'm actually not presenting, but presenting my books and everything at this conference. And I'm going to be truthful, this is my very first conference, and it's not going to be my last, and I'm super excited about it. Probably that's the reason why I made myself sick yesterday. So I couldn't even come on here yesterday. But I will see if I can come on afterwards, 1, to tell you guys about the conference, and 2, to do a little bit more math. All right, so make sure you guys follow me because I'm not sure what time that's going to be, so you know when to tune in. All right, have an amazing day, everyone. I will see you next time. Bye now.